for changing the nature of the game because it made him sound, well, he wasn't the best looking guy in the world, and Johnson knew that. He was a hound, that's for sure. He had a lot of girlfriends. But he used to get all over the television reporters. You people changed all this, he said. You people changed all this. Now they can see what's going on all the time. He was talking about the voters, by the way. They're making judgment on appearance, and he was absolutely right. I mean, those who listen to the great debate between Richard Nixon and John Kennedy in 1960. Now, if you listen to that interview on the radio, overwhelmingly, you believe Nixon won. Nixon was no slouch. He was a debater, and he'd been around a while. I mean, everybody wants to make Nixon out to be this terrible, lying, bad guy, and he was. But the Kennedys told their share of lies. That's why we have all this political division right now. That's why we don't know what the truth is. Our leaders, like Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump, haven't been telling us the truth. And they seem to try to go out of their way to avoid the truth. It's all that political speech. Anyway, the type of politician we have now, Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump, they love that camera. Oh, yeah. Nancy Pelosi's been strutting around for a couple of years now. I'm standing up to Trump. She's been high-fiving her millionaire white girlfriends. Yeah, I'm standing up to Trump. I tore up his... and this was so classless. I mean, Trump has been so classless on a number of occasions and even vulgar. But Nancy matched him by tearing up his State of the Union address while she, the vice president, and Trump were still up at the podium. And then she claps back with that nasty little look on her face. I mean, if you want to talk vulgar behavior and you want to talk about Donald Trump, I can't argue with you. But let's be honest here. Nancy Pelosi is a poor leader of the Democratic Party in the year 2021. And the reason she's still there is the money, honey. And she stood up with Trump, and that's a big deal out in California where she comes from. And there's 35 state representatives in Congress from California, most of them Democrat. So yeah, Nancy's a big deal in the Democratic Party, mainly because of her big environmental money. And you hear Joe Biden with Nancy Pelosi's hand up his backside, working his mouth like a ventriloquist, saying, yes, climate change is going to be my main objective. Then we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 blah. And of course, African Americans are the reason that Biden got the nomination in the first place and that he's president today and that he has control of both houses of Congress. Black people in Georgia won that election, and Trump helped, by the way. Trump is really doesn't care about anybody but himself. I can see that now. I used to think liberals were being too hard on Trump, but man, this performance he's had here in the last 3-4 months has been appalling. Just appalling. My number here is 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. If you'd like to call and correct me or make an argument of your own. But here's my main point for this segment of the show. The Democratic Party under Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about impeaching Donald Trump. It's really a meaningless gesture. What they want to do, and Jim Clyburn said this on Meet the Press over the weekend, they want to make sure Trump can't run again. Trump scares them. If you saw Nancy Pelosi on 60 Minutes last Sunday, you were looking at a scared old lady. She was shaky. That may be palsy. It comes with old age. By the way, go to yourfortdodge.com or AM1400 KVFD on Facebook and check me out. I'm no spring chicken. And these things happen to people when they get older. Mental lapses happen. So, again, I'm wondering if the fascination of old people in the Democratic Party, because Pelosi's 80, Jim Clyburn is 80, and Steny Hoyer, 81 years old. They were born, what, in the 30s? My God, what is it with old people, Democrats? I don't get you. I seriously don't. Well, Stop texting me and call 515-955-1400. I get a lot of texts on the air, but I don't get many calls. So again, 515-955-1400, if you don't mind. The Democrats are frightened of Donald Trump and don't want him to run in 2024 because they're afraid. And you saw it and heard it in Nancy Pelosi's face. They're afraid that Trump will come back and beat them. And he very well might. This uprising, and there's no excuse for it, that uprising was a bunch of people who had been lied to. For so long, they couldn't take it anymore. Now, why they chose to believe the lies of QAnon, I don't know. But there is a great, great distrust in our country. And we should point the finger of blame exactly where it belongs. And that would be the politicians like Barack Obama, like Ronald Reagan, like George Bush, certainly the second, and George Bush the first. They lie all the time. Barack Obama lied all the time. The press let him get away with political statements. Trump, I got to hand it to you. He liked to fight with the press, but he was still up there spreading the manure. Come on. This is what we're sick and tired of. We're sick and tired of Nancy Pelosi and her lies, Donald Trump and his lies. We want to believe what's true. Good afternoon. You're on the air at AM 1400.
Hi, I was just calling in when I heard you mention about the protesters on QAnon, and I believe the people that are involved in that were in that rally were less than 1%. I mean, that's the fringe idiocy of people. So, I mean, I hate it when the press and everybody starts lumping in QAnon with the Patriots.
Oh, I did not mean to convey that message at all, because I feel exactly as you do. These most of these people they believed a lot of lies. I believe I said that, and they charged they charged into the Capitol. And no, Mitch McConnell and almost all of the Republicans are so far, and conservatives. I don't even consider myself a Republican, but I am certainly a traditionalist and a conservative. I want nothing to do with QAnon, and I can't believe they're influential to this degree. It's insane.
I can't either. I don't really think they're influential. I think it's how the media frames it.
Well, that's what they want to fit that into their white terrorist narrative. Of course, there was no antifa.
Yeah, and even the local news is talking about, that group being white supremacist. I mean, I think that's also a very small minority of what was going on there. I heard 300,000 or 1 million people that were there.
God, I hope not. I hope that number is inaccurate. I don't really know.
Just by looking at it, it's probably at least 300,000.
Well, they've said now it's 80,000 at least. So it wouldn't take too much imagination to make that leap from 80,000 to closer to 300,000. I don't know. 300,000 is a lot of people. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, I just saw a sea of people though.
Okay, all right. No,
when you're talking about being lied to, I thought you were talking about the last 4 years the media lying to them.
Oh, that too. I mean, you see, that's exactly, and I'm glad you called, because it's this pervasive culture of lies that is tearing this country to pieces. The Democrats
lost their credibility.
Oh yeah, the Democrats lie and say it's those other guys, those Republicans, that are lying. And if they say they're not lying, they're white supremacists, which is another way of saying racist. And that, they believe, by calling someone a racist, that shuts down the conversation. Well, they can throw that word at me as many times as they want. It's a lie. It's false. I'm not a racist. But I disagree with your ideology, and I think your argument is weak. You know what I'm talking about? Are you still there, sir? Hello? No. People never say goodbye. People never say goodbye. Never can say goodbye. Anyway, I was glad that guy called. It helped me refine and define a couple of things that I've been trying to do on this very radio program. First of all, the word racist is the most overused word. Racist and white supremacist are the most overused words in the English language and have been for quite some time. I cannot believe the Democratic Party has wrapped their arms around a group like BLM, which actually is anti-Semitic. And from the way they talk about white people, I would have to accuse them of having racist elements within their group. Apparently, some black people still believe that they cannot be racist because they're not oppressors. To be an actual racist, you have to be in a position of power to oppress others, which is the lamest argument I've ever heard in my life. Being a racist means that you feel superior to someone else based on their ethnic background, primarily the color of their skin, how they look, how they talk. Those are racist qualities. I mean, 200 years ago, a bunch of crackers and slave owners actually believed that they were superior to black people, that black people may have had human qualities, but they really weren't fully human. Now, today, we have working class people who have been declared by the intelligentsia to be less than human in some way. It seems that way to me anyway. Good afternoon. You're on the air at AM 1400. Hello. Why call me if you're going to hang up? That could have been a telemarketer, I guess. But again, 200 years ago, there were plenty of whites, especially in the southeast United States, who really, really believed, and they used the Bible as their reference point. That's what they did back then. Today, the Bible is a joke to most of these people, which is shocking. It's the actual absolute cornerstone of Western civilization is the Holy Bible. Without it, we don't have a civilization. But no, we have sociologists now. 200 years ago, we had these crackers that really felt that black people were less than human. Here we are 200 years later, and we have the intelligentsia, the press, educators in some cases, and Democratic politicians certainly, who just despise people who are on the lower end of the economic system. Now, let me tell you something. There are working class values, and one of the biggest working class values, which is why I've always been proud to call myself a member of the working class, is that they are more devoted to family than other groups. They have in the past, of course. A lot of people will look at welfare mothers with 5 kids or 6 kids by 6 different fathers or whatever as a sign of decline, and it is, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But still, we believe in hard work. We believe in loyalty more than the intelligentsia. We believe in loyalty more than liberals. Again, I've had the experience of being very ill and having one of Fort Dodge's premier liberals, Nikki Conrad, treat me with great kindness and great concern. And I will always be grateful to Nikki, and she changed my attitude really on liberals. But you see, I have my reservations yet to this day. Good afternoon. You're on the air at AM 1400 KBFD.
Well, I hope we haven't forgot that our beans are in the teens.
Our what, sir?
Beans are in the teens.
There you go.
I think they're pushing $14 right now.
Now that rocks, doesn't it?
It does.
Wow. Why is that? Why are beans going up like that?
Well, they didn't have as many bushels to the acre. I think they averaged at 172 as opposed to 174 or 175. The conditions weren't as good this year.
Oh, God, what a terrible year. Really.
Well, and then COVID by December, which Fauci's swore would never happen. Let's not forget the tax cut and the tens of thousands of factories that left our shores in the 8 years prior to this administration.
Oh, most definitely.
And how about the VA Missions Act, improving health care for the treatment and options of our veterans? How about the Space Force?
What happened? I'm a veteran, of course, myself. What happened with that VA bill?
Well, he got it through so that they could get quick care before they died.
That's Trump you're talking about?
Yes, that all happened under his regime.
You know, there were some state laws that allowed prisoners in our state prisons to get treatment before veterans. The law said that prisoners had to be treated right away, and veterans, I think, could wait 30 days or more.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember when Carrier tried to leave. Boy, they still left. A lot of them left, but about 50% straight. And ever since then, they slowed down. But tens of thousands of jobs, or factories, not jobs, factories, left our shores in the 8 years prior to this administration.
Oh, 50,000 factories closed after Clinton and his NAFTA. 50,000 factories, not factory jobs. And then we had to have this supercilious Barack Obama at a fundraiser in where else? San Francisco. Oh, yeah. Well, they cling to their religion and gloves. The jobs are gone. They've been gone for 25 years. Why are the jobs gone there, Mr. President? What are you going to do about it? The answer? Nothing. He was going to make it worse.
How about the 50-year record for low unemployment through minorities, blacks and browns?
Yeah, that should be a factor.
I just hope nobody forgets. But I got a feeling that I didn't see any graffiti on the Capitol. I didn't. It wasn't a good thing, but
it sure wasn't. What did you think of that, really, as an American and as a kind of a conservative? What did you think of that storming of the Capitol on January the 6th?
Well, I didn't think it was a good idea, but a lot of people left early, and according to the people that were talking on the show that precedes yours, there's a lot of peaceful people that walked up there, and it all happened when they first started forming. So again, we're not seeing films. We're not seeing anything on this. It's been all talk. So the jury is out on that.
Yeah, I will lay the blame on the Capitol Hill Police and those who govern the Capitol Hill Police. They had every indication that there were going to be a lot of Trump supporters there, and they get a little rowdy every now and then. What happened was, and I understand this, a group of hardcores within that group saw how easy they could push right by the Capitol Hill Police. Now, there were some fist fights like I've never seen outside the Capitol before those people went into the building and started tearing it up.
Yeah.
But the cops were outnumbered, for God's sake, even with the smaller, violent group. And there were plenty of them. I'm not trying to justify what they did whatsoever. It was appalling.
Well, and what happened on the 6 months prior to that, when they were beating up all the people in Portland, Seattle, Chicago, and that's all six different states that I can think of. Nobody said a word. There was, peace in the basement. I mean, he could have said something.
Well, that's liberal amnesia.
Yeah. I was hoping you wouldn't catch it.
No. It's. I mean, Don Lemon of CNN was talking with Chris Como the other night, which really two squirrels chattering at each other. But Don Lemon claimed last night, I guess I watch Chris Como every now and then just because I guess like to be irritated. He is the most angry looking man ever. Who would watch this guy on a regular basis? He just glares into the camera all the time. Anyway, Don Lemon said, "I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer to what happened at the Capitol." This is Don Lemon speaking to his friend Como. It's two different things, according to Lemon. One was built on people, on racial justice, on criminal justice, right? On reform, on police, and not beating up or police treating people of color differently than they do whites. Okay. That was not a lie. You know how we know it wasn't a lie? Because Don Lemon just said so. Now, those are the facts. Go look at them. What happened at the Capitol was built on a lie, perpetuated by the president and the people who support him. So there you go. That's the big difference, according to a leading light of liberalism, Don Lemon.
Mm-hmm.
It's complete nonsense.
Well, and then how about banning travel to China on the 31st of January and being called a xenophobe by the guy in the basement?
Is he out of the basement now?
I think he's out, yeah.
All right. He thought Trump was going to beat himself, and he was just about right. But I'll tell you, any other year, straight up, without COVID, Trump's reelected.
Well,
there's no doubt. In January, Wall Street and the stock market were going gangbusters.
Well, what do you think about Sidney Powell being banned?
Oh, I don't have any problem with that. Sidney Powell is not my favorite person in the world. I mean, if you're going to get up there and talk all this blow, first of all, I'm opposed to banning. I'm a free speech absolutist, but it's not out of bounds to call her out on some of her nonsense.
You don't think that her theory on the ballot switching holds any water?
I don't at all.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I do not think that at all. I've checked into it extensively over the last few months. I was off work 2.5 months. I had nothing to do but sit in my chair and work my iPad. So I've worked that over. Part of me wishes it were true, a small part, but it's not true at all. I mean, Biden did win the election.
Okay, and the fact that they threw everybody out at 10:30, and he was 800,000 votes ahead, that doesn't concern you?
Are you talking in Georgia or
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania. I know what you're talking about. I'd have to think about it a minute before it all comes back to me. But I remember researching it, and I kind of watched the videos and the whole thing, and no, that doesn't concern me. I do not believe, as of this point, that the election was rigged. However, let me say this. I wouldn't put it past the Democratic Party at all. If you remember, I don't know how old you are, but if you remember when Lyndon Johnson ran against Barry Goldwater, a lot of dead people in Texas voted for him. A lot of dead people in Mayor Daley's Chicago area voted for him. And before that, during John Kennedy's and Richard Nixon's election, it was revealed that many dead people in Illinois had voted, and that swung the election to Kennedy. Now, Nixon, to his considerable credit, he was a flawed man. He refused to contest it because he thought it would tear the country apart. Now, you see Rita Hart down in southeast part of Iowa. She has lost by the state of Iowa laws, and I think she's lost everywhere else, but she wants to let Nancy Pelosi pick one of our congressmen in Iowa, which is a by God outrage. So if you wanted to shorten my position, once again, I don't believe the election was rigged, but I'm still open for new information.
Well, I certainly am too. I hope we can get it straight in the next 4 years. And I do think Sidney Powell's got a good hypothesis.
It's a hypothesis, though.
Yeah.
It's not the facts.
No, it's not the facts yet, but enough hypothesis that it becomes a theory.
Well, a theory should be based on fact, a hypothesis should be based on a gradual revelation of facts until it can become a genuine theory. Now, Sidney's an advocate, that's all. And an advocate's not concerned with the truth. Lawyers are not, when they're advocating for their client, are not concerned with the truth. They don't blatantly lie, but they spin like crazy. And that's what Sidney Powell does. That's what, and I've known of how many different advocates of different kinds, both at the state and federal level over the year, mainly in the state. No, they're going to advocate for their client and their position all day long, and they will turn away any pushback on their client or position. That's what Sidney's doing, and I don't blame her, but she's a little bit too. She seems to feed into Donald Trump's worst instincts.
Well, I don't know. Like I say, the jury is still out, and I hope we reveal the truth, the total truth, before the next 4 years roll around.
Well, let me add further to my position. I would be amazed if something else came out of this, because this has to be one of the more scrutinized elections in history.
I don't know. They threw all those people out at 10:30 in 4 states.
Now, again, I couldn't remember exactly what happened there. So,
well, one said they had a plugged-up water system, and one said that there was electrical, and there. I forget the other two excuses to throw everybody out while they counted. So, to me, in 4 major states like that, that's what made the difference.
What were the states? Do you remember?
Pennsylvania, Georgia, I believe. Oh golly, I honestly can't remember the other 2 right now. But Pennsylvania and Georgia were the 2 biggies, and there were some others close to that count. And it was more than enough to swing the election.
Well, I'm going to go back and re-examine that for you. I promise that I will. But here's more painful news, I'm afraid. Donald Trump cost the country Republican control of the Senate. He's arguing with Mitch McConnell over how much stimulus money there should be, and he put McConnell in a hell of a position. Now, before all that, both of the Republican candidates were ahead of their Democratic opponents by a percentage point or a percentage point and a half. It was looking pretty good for those Republican senators. And they both got beat by just a percentage point or two. And I really think that Trump's bonehead activities just before, and he was really sounding desperate to me. He really desperately wanted to continue as president. And I of course, I'm just some guy in Fort Dodge, so I don't understand that sort of ambition. But he screwed the Republicans. You know, I'm not going to give the Democrats that much credit.
Well, like I say, I'm just going to, time will tell, but I hope
time will tell.
I guess we better get it straight in the next 4 years.
You know, gosh, who was it? Wrote a great book on Bill Clinton's presidency and all the shenanigans Bill Clinton got away with and all the lies that man told. What was the author's name? Was Mike Medavoy or something like that. Yeah,
he paid back Mondale by doing things to his daughter. Nobody ever talks about that one. There were two women in that White House at that time that were getting things done by him. Nobody ever talks about Mondale's daughter.
Mondale's daughter was giving it up for Bill Clinton,
yep.
Really?
Yep, it's in Crisis of Conscience. So if you want to look that up, that book, it's a very revealing book of what went on. It was written by a Secret Service guy, and he couldn't publish it before he was out of office or out of his tenure. And it was his tenure ended, I believe, in 2016. But Crisis of Conscience is a very informative book at what went on. And it's a good guy that wrote it. It's a Secret Service guy.
I just remembered the title of the book I was referring to earlier, Uncovering Clinton. It was by a well-known reporter. I can see his face in front of me, but I can't think of his name. Uncovering Clinton is the name of the book.
Yeah.
Not only Bill Clinton's multiple lies and having other people lie for him in the Monica Lewinsky thing, but his constant lying throughout his political career. It's part of his nature. It's part of his character. Mm-hmm. Is to whip the charm on and that big smile of his and lie his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just does. Hey, I got to go to a break, but thank you so much for your call. Call anytime.
Hasta la bye-bye.
All right. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 440.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.